Well, greetings. Thank you for joining us on this. Was it Sunday night? So I guess the Super Bowl is over. Lucky us. Lucky us that we're not interested in. Yeah, one of these days there'll be holidays that some of us care about. One day, maybe. All right. So enough about that. So this is I feel like there's a little bit more on the Orion Wars. Obviously, you can go on and on with that, but that's not something I want to go into completely. But I did connect to some new energies little by little of a Star Wars weapon. No, there's different ways of looking at that. I just felt the Star Wars weapon. Just, um, I mean, you can say it's kind of weaponized here to some degree, at least you know, to show the movies that they're making these days aren't exactly what they used to be. But there's different ways of looking at the whole Star Wars, like in pop culture. It is a disclosure, but there's different ways of looking at it. It's either like it's more likely, not exactly. I mean, we're kind of between Star Trek and Star Wars, but it's like a future that's more realistic and not exactly, but sort of, because we're being stopped for our progression into space. But eventually that will lift. And of course, we're going to go through our primitive times, of course, like we're going through right now. But as we start going into space, of course, it's going to be pretty primitive. But obviously, it's being orchestrated. I mean, it feels like we're being stopped. um, we've been stopped for a long time, obviously. but but the Star Wars realm, it's more dirty. It's kind of that type of reality. It's like we're most likely. I mean, it's like we're kind of split into two sides of space, like a like some part of society would be clean, and the other side would be a mess. But enough about that. Let's see here. Yeah, we're just not going to that anymore. But telekinesis worlds and that in Orion. So it's like the star. So I'm gonna put up. I'm gonna show. What was it? Betelgeuse. However you pronounce that. That seems like it's a telekinesis. Well, it's a telekinesis star, but you can call it a world, call it a star, whatever it is. But of course, there's healing worlds. There are telekinesis worlds. Of course, those worlds are a combination of a little bit of everything. But there are worlds that are just healing planets. There's planets where just it's telekinesis. Of course, there's planets where people fly. You can go on and on with that. So, and of course, there's worlds with a little bit of everything like ours is, or at least the idea of it's there. Of us experiencing it's a whole nother story. Well, at least the flying part. And if you're invisible, if you're working on invisibility, just I mean, there's different ways of looking at that. I mean, you can cloak your energy, meaning that people won't pay attention that much. But actually be physically be invisible. Go look with that. It's like I guess there are ways of doing that. That maybe not being uh fully invisible, but you never know. So, but the Orion energies, of course, is very strong with us, connected to the Egypt and everything. So we'll just see what comes through and just roll with it. Let's see here. So we have always.com and private sessions. You have the schedule. Shop them on. I'm still on the first. Same situation here. It's the webinar, social network, and behind the scenes. And going to. There's a couple of things here actually. So the Betelgeuse star. I think it's a star. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, not because of its how large it is. Of course, it's pretty large. I mean, our sun compared to Betelgeuse, jeez, it's like the sun for giants. Jeez, and our sun's pretty large. So yeah, Betelgeuse, guys, however they pronounce that. That's definitely a telekinesis world. And you look at the sun's energy too. It has a lot of power connected to it. So of course, it's also a target at the same time. We'll just leave it at that. Another thing about Star Wars, though, not to go too deep into it. Look at this. When you look at the poster, it looks like it's a different movie. Now you have other posters that are a little bit more like the movie, but you have one that's like it doesn't look like what we got. It has some traits of it, but it's more like you have a fantasy within a fantasy. It's like either way, it's not that important. Just throwing it out there, no big deal. But the Orion energies, yeah, I would say no, just go on it like just a read on it. Of a lot of people don't want to know about it. I mean, some do, but many don't. It has a lot of karmic threads in our planet. A lot of beings came here with good intentions, but end up doing not so good things in their past. So, and that had a lot to, and of course, this Anunnaki is tall whites connected to Orion. Of course, there's fuelite is everything. It's connected to Orion, but there's a lot of tall white energies connected to Orion. And there's just a lot of our politics is connected to Orion of projecting different politicians here, and obviously it's difficult for us to pick up on a physical level because it's done on a higher dimensional level. So it's different. Yeah, this whole trucker thing. It feels like it's going to start fading out. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. It'll have some impact, but it's not going to like the whole world's not going to be turned into this utopia after this is done. I seriously doubt it. But you never know. The Star Wars weapon. That one's kind of a mystery. I mean, yeah, like a planet destroying weapons. You could say. Um, Yeah, planet. I mean, you can say it's another war. I mean, even in the 1980s, they wanted to have a Star Wars type of weaponry in space. So it's basically a Star Wars weapon at wars in space, basically. Yeah, they're not going to go. And of course, I think I talked about some of this yesterday. You have a Nazi type of energy in Orion, at least parts of Orion. Basically, it's also to take away nature and replace it with more cybernetic technology nature. Like a technology tree or just and even here they're trying to do that with technology with harp to manipulate the weather. They want to, I mean, you could say technically take all of nature and turn into a machine, basically. At least in some respects, maybe not everything. So that's part of what they're trying to. Well, here, no. Well, yeah, they're trying to do some manipulations using nanobots and nanotechnologies. Of course, a lot of our I'm just gonna go. A lot of our senators aren't really thinking. I mean, it feels like a lot of our politicians, they might be talking, but someone else is talking through them. I would say I get the energy of like 70% of politicians are being manipulated. No surprise there, right? I mean, you might have a local mayor in the middle of nowhere from a small town. He might not be manipulated, but everybody else, especially in the big town, is just basically a galactic. I wouldn't call it a utopia, but a galactic interference, obviously, at least in the United States, definitely. And yeah, and it's also karmic ties. They can't be removed from those positions either. Like when they get I guess they can be if they mess up, but if they go by the agendas, usually they stay there. That's why you have all these old, politicians staying there for such a long time. So obviously stuff people don't want to talk about, but if you want to heal this world, you have to, yeah, whatever. Some just want to connect to the positive and not learn about anything. That's fine. More power to you on that one. But you just wonder why things don't change. That's why. If you only want to see one side of the coin, uh, more power to you on that one. Um, yeah, if how do you solve the problem if you don't want to see what the problem is? Yeah, so thinking everything's going to be this utopia is not likely. Yeah, that's gonna. I don't know how the. I mean, I don't wonder what the realization that that's not going to happen. I mean, yeah, we're going to a more positive reality, but like the Care Bear reality isn't likely here. There's just too many timelines holding on to the old world. But whatever. Yeah, that's a dose of red pill that some aren't ready for. It seems like. But the telekinesis energies of people will start to remember those. They're probably remembering them now. More likely in the future star seeds, definitely. Future star seeds of just even healing planets. I mean, saying technically a Arcturian world is a healing planet. I mean, yeah, they have technology, but it's more of a higher dimensional technology. It's just energy, basically. When you get more to the fourth dimension, third dimension, it gets more physical, as what we're experiencing here. Let's see. Ryan Council. There's also several different councils. I feel like there's at least 12 major councils. There's not just one. Some are feline, some are aquatic, some are insectoid, um, and so on. And there's also Orion also has representatives like a Palladian representative, Syrian representative, and so on. It keeps going on. So it's yeah, I feel like I don't know if there's a red star in Orion. I don't think there is. I don't think there's a. Well, I guess that's the Betelgeuse star. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I get the energy of like a red. Oh, I guess the Betelgeuse is called the red star. Oh, jeez. Yeah, because I get this energy of the red star, and that's the Betelgeuse star, one of the brightest stars, in our galaxy. So yeah, the red star. Yeah, I guess that's where the councils are. I never really looked for a location of where they were, at least in a higher dimension. Yeah, which makes perfect sense. Yeah, so your Orion councils and living in a star basically in higher dimensions. And yes, there is darkness within these dimensions that has to be healed. You say there's 12 levels, 12 councils, 12, however you want to see it. There are beings that wanted to wipe out Orion. I mean, just destroy it completely, even the star itself. Obviously, it's going to cause a lot of difficulties if they do that. Well, because Orion played a big role in a lot of other star systems in their development. So when you're developing all these star systems throughout our galaxy, and then part of it goes bad, becomes malevolent. It's difficult to get rid of something like that. So it's almost like Orion, parts of Orion help develop, like almost like farming. It might not be farming as we see it, but it's kind of like that. They help worlds, as I say, seed and develop, and gas planets, all these different worlds. It's just different connections there. And of course, Orion became more militaristic over time. So the the star of Orion, Betelgeuse or whatever they call it, it does have a lot of reptilian energy connected to it. It's almost like godlike reptilian energies, and some of these reptilians can be, yeah, extremely vicious. Of course, some of them were developed that way, but some of them are just that way. They feel like they're gods, basically. Once again, similar to the elf people I connected to. And when they just feel like they're just. It's like they became, like I said, some of this yesterday. They got bored. There was nothing that was, you know, they couldn't conquer. So they started conquering other planets. Of course, there's more to it than that, but when they learned how to manipulate other planets, I mean, you can think about higher dimensional reptilian beings, and they lost challenge in their existence. I mean, yeah. Think about all these, spiritual groups that try to be higher dimensional. I want to be high vibration. I want to be 10th dimension. I want to be 12th dimension. and that's great. But some of them, they can only go so far with all that. It's like once you go up, then you go down. I mean, unless you're balanced with your darkness and your light, like you recognize your own darkness, but some just want light, and the light can only last so long. Now you might, and it's not saying how long it can last, but some of them just they go really dark. It's like think about it. You have the most positive beings in the galaxy, we'll just say, and then they start going rogue, and they have all this power, and defeating something like that is not easy. Not when you're I mean, even if they're weakening, they still have a lot of power, and they abuse. Like you seen on a television show, a cartoon show. Same thing. It's just unbelievable the power, and it's just. I mean, obviously, there's more to this whole story, but there's different levels of the Orion Wars, but taking over a planet, learning how to do it, manipulating its people, and just they got a high off of it, and they learned more about themselves. Even if they got destroyed and stopped, they still learned more about themselves. And some just you say became addicted to it. It became part of their lives, their culture. At least a part of Orion, just be able to manipulate a planet. So you know, you know, I guess when you get good at something, it's hard to stop somebody. They carried, yeah, hybrid families, hybrid groups to keep this momentum going and manipulating worlds. So they just become so good at it. And they take energies from like the Palladians and make them, connect to DNA so they'd be more attractive. So it makes it even harder to take them down because you have this beautiful being that people see as like, wow, this is the most beautiful, attractive being, and it's manipulating the hell out of everybody. Of course, we have that here. Yeah, attraction seems to be another weapon, as we see here. Um, and it might be something that's extremely attractive but extremely toxic at the same time. So some, yeah, have Orion Wars. So the Orion Wars is connected to World War II, of course. I mean, you can say technically the Orion Wars have never ended. I don't think they have really. Not until I think at least my connection until our world evolves into a higher dimension. That's when the Orion Wars like slowly improve or end. I'm not sure if there'll ever be an end to it. Feels like it's going to go on forever from what it feels like. Our planet plays a big role. I mean, just with the word Orion Wars, and you look up in stars and you see Orion, and you see how it's connected to the pyramids and whatever else the Orion constellation is connected to. We're part of it no matter what. Until they move our planet somewhere else where you can't see Orion so well. That means we're out of the Orion war zone, but basically we're in the zone. So we're going to get attacked by everything they got. So think of like the Orions, at least like I said, the negative side. There's obviously a positive side somewhere, but the negative side is like a machine, and they do everything they can. Their whole lives are about manipulating worlds and being unstoppable. And we're experiencing that here. We're experiencing practically everything, every trick they got. So yeah, even like obviously clones, but also mechanical clones, whatever that means. Um, yeah, just a little bit of everything. Even Agartha has been affected by Orion. Of course, they come off as friendly. Well, I believe they're. I mean, you're using nature against us too. Unfortunately, parts of nature, maybe not all of nature. Uh, oh, what is it? Ireland. Ireland is a place that's yeah, there's a lot of portals in Ireland. Of course, there's a portal into Agartha, and some of that is manipulating um, Great Britain. So if you have like your Middle Earth, your Middle Earth, your Agartha Earth, where we can't see, and you have manipulative energies there, which is similar to like Lord of the Rings, and you have magicians and just the dark side of you know of Agartha, which definitely does exist, and you have that wicked power controlling our kingdom, or London and all that. Yeah. Something to do with dragon's blood also. Something it's like a potent dragon's blood can be used for healing purposes, but it also can be used as a weaponized energy too. Not that anybody really has any of that right now. Well, some people might have it in their veins technically, and that might be a good thing or a bad thing. It all depends on the person. So a positive dragon person being that's here, that's incarnated, can have a lot of senses, maybe too much empathic ability. Definitely wants to hug a tree for sure. Very connected to nature, maybe too connected to nature when he would rather just sleep outside and sleep inside somewhere. Rather sleep on the ground than indoors. Doesn't mean they want to walk around and breathe fire, but you never know. And they do want to fly also. Now, these are people that are incarnated here right now. Now, the positive dragon being is kind of like an angel, it just wants to do good to others. And then you have your negative dragons that just want to take over the world, basically. Jeez. And they're pretty good at manipulating people around them, too. A lot of them are parents right now. Jeez. Lovely. Yeah, I mean, even your family that you're born into, not always the case. Some of the cases some people have dealt with where your family is kind of against you. There are some cases where that is true. And a lot of time, yeah, you can be born with the people that you're fighting. Yeah, your mom and dad. It can be people that you're at war with in the astral and other dimensions, and it can make things a little more complicated there. There's different reasons for it, but it does exist for sure. Yeah, some kind of treaty too. I'm getting it's like an agreement to make peace. That's one. That's some peace going on there. Oh, jeez. It's like you're willing to incarnate with somebody that you pretty much just. I don't know if it's a spies, but someone that's not exactly helping you, and they're your parents or someone in your family. Of course, when you have family members that are abusing, you know, other family, physically abusing children, yeah, it shows that there's a war going on within the family, obviously. Some of that has a reptilian nature. It can be an archon nature too, but it feels like it's more of a reptilian. More like the sixth, the mentally ill reptilian energies have taken over planets. So just they're like power hungry. So they see your power and want to take your energy. That's why they go into abuse. They don't think anything of it. And it's like, I mean, that's how they keep the world's energy at a low vibration by you know, obviously human trafficking and abuse of the kids. Obviously, that lowers frequencies instantly. That's why they keep doing it. And stopping something like that obviously is not the easiest. I mean, of course, it's been going on for thousands of years. It's not something you just hit the stop button on. Of course, some won't hear about that it's going to end, but so that kind of gives you a duration of how long the physical realm is going to go. It's like how long is the abuse and human trafficking going to go? That gives you the timeline of when the third dimension at this level exists. So when human trafficking and corrupt cops go away, and physical abuse obviously goes away, then you go to the higher dimensions, of course, or at least a higher frequency of physical, and it becomes easier to connect with aliens and higher dimensional beings. So if you're looking for a timeline, obviously you have your CIA and stuff like that manipulating a lot of the making sure that those timelines continue. Unfortunately, but the darker side, they open the floodgates, human trafficking and all that, especially what's happening in Mexico. The agents, some of the spy agencies, the darker side, are obviously letting it happen, but also doing it. So, I mean, I don't think they're even. I mean, obviously they don't want to talk about it publicly, but yeah, they're not something they would admit publicly. I don't think they would. It's more just it's like a whole anyway part of the spy agencies that's doing it, obviously. Um, yeah, with Orion, yeah, they do choose. I mean, obviously, those that control our reality can choose the politicians that's running our planet. Well, the reason I bring up the politicians because they're the ones running our timeline. They're the sock puppets of our reality. Doesn't mean you have to pay attention to it or look into it at all. You don't have to. You can connect to it. Just it's like these people. These politicians are extremely wealthy. They're have a decent amount of power at least and influence, and who put them there. And you connect to that astrally. Not the easiest thing to see, but when you go to the astral level, yeah, it's kind of vicious there. That's where you're elite, the least form of it. And healing that, yeah, well, and it goes back to the United Nations, like a shadow part of the United Nations, which is connected to the Orion energies, was connected to the Galactic Federations to a certain degree. Obviously, the good guys keep losing. I mean, I know, I think the positive aliens lose a lot. They have some wins, but mostly losses because they can't match the darkness that's here. I mean, at least to stop it, they don't always know how to do it. That's why we're here. We incarnate here to help them figure it out. We're in the inside. So you wonder why you're here. You might not be aware of the details of it, but you're here to end the darkness, right? Well, there's different ways of looking at it. But back to the Star Wars weapon, yeah, it feels like it's just a planet destroying weapon. And I feel like that Star Wars is like a code of some kind. The name itself, it's not exactly, I would say it's not exactly a positive code, obviously. It's part of disclosure, but it shows that there's an empire behind it too, obviously. An empire that has, yes, telekinesis abilities, nanotechnology. They have everything. It's like they have everything they can to control planet. Sound technologies, you name it, they got it. And our planet, because our planet lowers the vibrations of other worlds, so our world is like a satellite to other planets. So, and I would say that the Betelgeuse star, is definitely a part of it. Unfortunately, it's part of a lot of negativity that's coming off. If you connect to the Orion field of negativity, is it from the star itself? Like, what part of the constellation you feel the negativity coming from? It's not all of Orion, but the star, it means that a lot of those Orion councils have been taken over in the past. I don't think they've been fully healed either. No. When our world starts to evolve into a more positive energy, obviously that's when the Orion, yeah, like I say, the Orion councils are more of a positive direction. For right now, we have a while. Yeah, if Washington D.C. became more of a friendly place, then yeah, we're at a higher dimension. Yeah, it's just like if politicians were corrupt, you're all friendly, genuine friendly. We're going to the higher dimensions, no doubt. But with this hint of darkness everywhere, yeah, just wishful thinking. I think it's all going to come to an end. Um, Now the Star Wars weapon, I believe some people here have actually seen it, like a planet destroying technology. It's not always a moon. It can be anything. Can be a ship. Can be all kinds of things. But I believe people here have seen it, especially if you're not. You might be a Star Wars fan, but then you get some bizarre vibe of some of their technology because yeah, you've actually experienced it. But it is part of our disclosure, and it's just when you put the word war in anything, I mean the hype that went into Star Wars and everything, at least pop culture wise. We're talking about telekinesis. Of course, we're being blocked through the moon, but also through our sun. We're being blocked by telekinesis. To not have telekinesis here, our sun has obviously our timelines are connected to our sun and our solar system, and that's also obviously healing the sun energy can it's good, but it can only go so far. Um, but however, yeah, our timelines are invented there. Of course, that's technically our spirit world and a higher dimension, you could say. Depends on how you want to look at it. I mean, our spirit world's everywhere technically, but I mean, if you want to connect to a version of our spirit world that's in the sun, like how our timelines are created, a lot of it's in the sun. And there's sunbursts, of course, is alien beings going into the sun. Like you can say alien beings that are higher dimension, like do you see little ships flying around the sun? And I feel like they can in some like astrally in some ways see our reality through our sun. It's like you come into our solar system, you just connect to our sun, you get a better idea what you're dealing with in our solar system. It's easier to connect to our sun than it is this planet because this planet is so hostile. You know, we have the carrion races that are here that are causing the bird beings. The birds are like one of the more advanced beings here also, and they're obviously difficult to shut down. Just the way they were designed, just like the reptilians. So let's see. Yeah, the sun has a lot of yeah, it has a lot of third dimensional knowledge to keep us in the physical. Human trafficking energy is there to tap into it. Not the easiest thing to tap into, but um, so I see human trafficking. I see Hillary Clinton. Obviously, she knows a lot about it. Not revealing a lot about it either. Yeah, who are if that's the thing about these corrupt politicians. Like, yeah, they might be corrupt. But it's like the more corrupt they are, the more they know too. Like the Clintons, but Hillary seems like she knows more than Bill. Bill knows quite a bit, but Hillary knows more, which makes it even more bizarre how they're running for president and everything. It's like, jeez, it's like knowing about secret societies and all this stuff. It's almost like they know too much. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as politicians that want to stop human trafficking, some is allowed to be stopped, but not all of it. Some, yeah, some there's some leeway where some of it is ran its course. It's also human trafficking is also connected to the universe. Of course, it's connected to Orion, all these different star systems. Human trafficking is connected to the universe itself. It's because human trafficking of other alien beings too. It's not just our world. I mean, I feel like the Greys get human trafficked. Even the reptilians get trafficked themselves. All these Palladians definitely. Higher vibrational being, they get trafficked. Just because they're alien beings doesn't mean they can't be manipulated. It's a war zone out there. Some might not want to believe it, but you might be in a neighborhood where it doesn't happen. But it does happen. It's just not spoken about. I mean, we're here to heal our human trafficking on this planet, but what about other worlds? Obviously, we can't go to those other worlds, but we're not supposed to. But I mean, I mean, obviously, it's pushing it, but a lot of the souls have been trafficked here, have been put on other planets. Doesn't mean you have to believe that, but they definitely like a forced incarnation on other planets. Yeah, that's another reason. Yeah, and they lower their vibration, put them into a matrix reality, and just keep them there. Yeah, and just keep them part of that world. It's like this is your reality, if you like it or not. Tough. So that when they force incarnations on other planets, and it can, it causes us some difficulties too. Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, something like that's pretty complicated to heal things like that. Um, let's see here. The Orion Wars, yeah. So obviously, a lot of politicians are connected to the councils of the Orion councils. So the reason why it's so hard to get rid of these politicians is they're protected council wise. Even the Clintons are on some kind of council, some kind of galactic council. I'll say the Clintons are on a Martian council. They're very protected. Obviously, even Obama is on some kind. I feel like dominant energies around Obama. It's just a necessary evil. All the rest of these guys, of course, they've all been cloned, and they've all been cloned and put on other realities at the same time. Jeez. So this is kind of out there, but that's the way it's going to be. So if you have like someone like for example, Hillary Clinton, and you clone her, put on, or she's incarnate. Let's put it this way: you clone her on, put her in other Earths and other realities, and she's doing it willingly, because she's ego based, just want to take over the universe basically. You put her on all these different worlds, and it causes like an energy of power. It's like it makes it harder to get stop them. At least that's the vibe I'm receiving from that. So if you're influencing other realities and you're not stopped there, it's hard to stop them. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It's kind of some weird, I don't know, just some kind of weird connection there. Just I feel like there's some momentum there. Yeah, it's like they're something like that. It's like they're building, you know, it's like if you're a politician, like Hillary Clinton, for example. You go to different versions of Earth and conquer those different versions of Earth, and then you come here. It's like this one's a little bit harder. I mean, think about it. If you're a corrupt politician, and I know it sounds out there, but and you have the power to manipulate and defeat and win, and you go from world to world doing that, and you get to this planet, and you might get some success, but you haven't become like a dictator of the planet as you had on other versions of Earth. That's pretty screwed up. Good luck on teaching that in school. But that seems like how some of this works too. There's so many different ways of how these beings get power, how they generate it. It's a lot of layers to it. It's like I don't think people connect to different versions of it. I think it's so convoluted and insane. It's hard to keep up with all of it. I mean, I don't know what to do with that. So you conquered other planets, and now you're here. You can't conquer this one. You sort of did. I haven't conquered it completely. Anyway, it's just yeah. Talk about hitting a hitting a brick wall. If you're massively corrupt, and of course these elites conquer other planets, but other versions of Earth. But also you have some. I feel like there's some homeless people here that have been elites on other planets and control them, and then they might have changed their mind or grew up conscious, and now they're here as you know in poverty and so or some different reasons behind it. You'd be surprised. I mean, you'd be surprised. Some of these homeless people are very intelligent, and they might be too intelligent. It's like they might be too advanced, and now they come here to be homeless to slow themselves down. So, just a thought. Some of them are very connected spiritually. But who's going to believe them? Because they're all on the street and everything. Who's going to believe that? Like a lot of homeless people are very spiritually advanced. Probably advanced more than most people. They're just working in different ways, you can say. So, you um, let's see here. Yeah, telekinesis planets. I mean, this is a telekinesis world. You don't see much of it. Well, you kind of do. Of course, this is a healing planet, but it is a telekinesis planet, though. Just the way it was designed. We're just all deactivated. But you can have a form of it, a version of it. So you can't just hold your hand out. Well, some people can. But they can. Some people have the ability to move things around, but you're not always meant to do that. But telekinesis can also use it manifesting too. Like instead of just, you know, use your mind to open up your car, you can use your energy to make things happen. I think that's where a lot of that power is being used right now. So yeah, you might not be moving trees or moving houses with your mind, but you're moving timelines and energy. You might not always get what you want exactly, but a lot of people are using it for that right now. Using it what you're allowed to use it for. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean, eventually, the more telekinesis energies will be allowed here. I mean, some people have achieved it to a certain level. They're not picking up buildings with their minds. Of course, I imagine some of you out there can remember doing that. It's like, And then you come here, it's like I can't move a quarter. Using my mind to move this quarter, and I can't do it. Yes, so you just go where your energy, where your path is, what does work for you. If that doesn't work, but remembering telekinesis worlds, lifetimes of flight, lifetimes of being a general on another planet. That's difficult, but you're bringing those memories here. You're bringing that energy here for humanity to unlock itself from its, its from what it's forgotten. Obviously, it's not the easiest thing. They're right. Yeah. So to recap a little bit, the Orion Wars. I feel like we're still in it. I don't know if others said it's ended. As long as we're enslaved the way we are, I mean, there is some slavery going on here. Yes, humanity's likes to do what it does, and that's fine. But there's a lot of manipulation here doesn't need to be here. So, and humanity is not just not ready to get rid of it. I mean, they make it work. Yeah, somebody's cracking the whip and you're digging ditches all day, but humanity finds a way to make that, oh, I can live with this. If you tell them like reptilians are running reality, and of course there's other beings doing it too. Yeah, they're not going to take that one in. Eventually they will. It has to go into pop culture in some ways. Of course, people still call it crazy, but little by little it'll go into pop culture about all this alien connections, and of course there'll be manipulations there, but eventually it will be taken more seriously, and the manipulations will clear out. There's always going to be some kind of manipulations because that's this planet. This is like the capital of chaos on this world is. I mean, in our solar system, maybe the universe, but I would just say this is a capital of chaos. Mm. And a lot of these alien beings that are causing trouble here, obviously they have a lot of problems they have to sort out. I mean, here to sort our problems, but we're also here to help them with theirs. And of course, they don't showing themselves. They can have reptilians showing themselves and sitting on a couch and and getting some therapy, which would be hilarious if they do that. I guess they feel they're too good for that. I guess they're too good for that. Not all of them. Some of them. At least the warrior versions are. I mean, even reptilians have PTSD. They even have it too. Their version of it. Yeah, because they get yelled at and beat up too. A lot of them don't want to be a part of this. I believe there are a lot of them that are causing trouble here, and they don't want to do it, but they have to. For like their world got taken over, and they're being forced. This is like their labor camp to be here. Of course, they're they're living a lot easier than we are. Yeah, I don't get many interactions. Sometimes they don't always show themselves. I know they're around for sure. But they don't like make themselves known. They don't like ring up bells. Hey, look, we're here. How's it going? Screw you. I don't see that. But we're definitely, if you're in an awakened state and you're pushing button, trying to figure things out, obviously they're checking in on you. They're probably doing some kind of amnesia on you to some degree. It's complicated. They're not going to tell me about that. Uh, well, it feels like those that are controlling our reality, they're they're like portals in the oceans, something to do with the oceans. Like their ships are in the oceans. Yeah, reptilian, especially reptilian being insectoids. I would still say it's reptilian because reptilian. I mean, of course, it's archons, but the reptilians are still the foot soldiers of all this. They just got what it takes. They're just the way they're designed and everything. Of course, there are feline beings that are here to help us. Of course, there's Syrian beings, aquatic beings that are here to help us. But the reptilians, I feel like, are still. I mean, of course, artificial intelligence plays a big role here, but it still feels reptilians are still running everything. At least they're the They're the one. There's the soldiers of our reality, but there's always somebody else behind them. But I would say that the reptilians, most of them or all of them, most of them are being forced to do what they're doing. Like they need a job too, and they don't have any choice. For if their families' reasons, they have their reasons. Just like how you get drafted into war. I feel like a lot of them got drafted. and it's like impossible to get out from I mean, obviously aliens, not everybody's going to agree with that, but it's like a lot of them are doing what they have to do here, and so when you feel that irritation coming from them, I mean, it's like we're being forced to not know their alien presence is here. So yeah, I mean, I feel like when the reptilian grid or reptilian beings are allowed to step back and remove their manipulation here, people are starting to remember more, and the amnesia finally start to break down. And just little by little, you get dreams, and you'll feel lighter. You probably won't need food anymore as much as you were before, and just feel lighter and lighter. But right now, the agendas is like, I mean, I feel like there's like a million agendas here, probably more than that. But there's 20 of them, 20 agendas that are the main ones here. They're not showing what they are. Like the main agendas that are here. I mean, I imagine there's more, but I feel like 20 is the main agenda that's happening here. At least they're trying to manifest to their best of their ability. So like, what's the resolution of all this? Well, you can always like have like a couch for a reptilian being to lay down and get some therapy. If I could really see that happen. Oh, your couch would probably fall on the ground, but it'd be funny to see that happen. I know they don't like that because a lot of them don't want to be feminized. Too tough for. Well, a lot of them are Martian reptilians. I think it's more of the more powerful reptilians. They're just weaponized beyond belief. Just I don't even know if there's even a soul there anymore. It's just they're so powerful and have been so genetically engineered. I mean, us getting to Mars feels, it's more likely to just fake it. That'd be easier because getting there, it's like we're being stopped. Being stopped. The moon, I feel like we're being stopped there, but they're allowed a little bit more lenience, but not really. It feels like space is on pause. We might have some things happening, but most of it's on pause. Gee, I wonder why. They don't want us to go to space, basically. They'll hint at it. They'll give us some leeway, but then it's like, oh, you just don't have the technology to do it. I mean, they might send people out to space to go to Mars, and then they'll die just to make us not want to do it anymore. You know, or send people out to space and the ship doesn't, make it or it blows up. Of course, I think they're trying to stay away from that. Instead of just doing technical problems and money issues to keep us from going space, which you never know, things might change. But for right now, it feels like they're slowing things down. Reasons. Yeah, as we go more into space, obviously the world won't awaken fully, but it shows that we are graduating. So we'll get there eventually. But when is, you know, like you can go out into space on the cheap, maybe for $100, and be able to go fly out into space, something like that, or cheaper than that. But that's going to be a while, or free. Good luck with that one. But eventually, yeah, there'll be buses that go to space or rockets that are kind of like a bus. Instead of just blasting off straight in the air, they'll just take off like a plane, just like I see in the movies, and just fly off there. It's like that's nothing new. But eventually, yeah, I think they can do it now. Obviously, they're not doing it for various different reasons. Yeah, it feels like a rocket can just, from what it feels like, yeah, like a stealth fire or something like that. But some of them can go into space. I think stealth fighters have. They go into the upper atmosphere. I think they can go. They have stealth fighters that can actually go further. So it just can handle all the space. They can build it up where it can handle space. So I don't think it's that hard anymore. Of course, obviously people know that already, but I mean, just with the public technology we have now, um, yeah, it's all space is frozen for the most part, and so they know what they're going to do. United Nations is dealing with it. Just yeah, maybe 5, 10 years, maybe, but we'll have some, uh, you know, we'll have some victories going into space, but there seems like they're holding back from a lot of it. So anyway, all right. It's a little bit scattered, this whole recording, but hopefully it's helpful. We're going to a different subject matter tomorrow. We have Orion. Orion, I'm just getting blocked on all levels. Gee, I wonder why. There's a lot more going on there. It's not just there. Go somewhere else. That might be a little bit more helpful and information. So, all right. Have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow.